We have Darth Vader over here.
Luke, I am your father.
Excuse me. Sorry, that's on camera.
Everybody that watched last week's episode and tried to guess my age on my birthday, thank you very much for putting your guess in the comments. If you guessed 43 years old, congratulations, you got it right. My email, I'll put it on the screen right here, right now. I think that worked. Shoot me an email if you guessed 43 years old. I'll check the comments on last week's video to confirm, and then I will mail you an Ultra 4 Jones sticker. Let's get started on this week's video. Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome back. I can't believe all of the views, all the support, all the comments, all the subscribers. I'm super happy that the channel is being well received and growing so much, and you guys are loving this project. If you're not familiar with this Bronco, I bought it sight unseen back in May in Montgomery, Alabama. My wife and I flew back there and drove it 2,800 miles home. 306,000 miles on it by the time we got it home. And then I saw the OnX Off-Road Build Challenge contest and I thought, well, shoot, why don't I make this my entry and see if I can get the wild card spot? And to kind of spice things up a little bit, why don't I say that I'm gonna put a 7.3 in it? Well, they called my bluff. I won the spot, so we had to get it done. 7.3 in the Bronco, it's running. Can't drive it because there's no front suspension under it right now, no drive shafts, and a couple of brake lines are missing. But we're gonna knock all that stuff out in the next couple of weeks and hit the road and go to Arizona for the OnX Off-Road Build Challenge. Where you can't see, never good.
Okay, what are you working on right now?
Right now, trying to reinforce the chassis side upper link mount because I've decided, good or bad, right or wrong, it's going to be a bolt-in mount, but I don't want it to break, so trying to over-engineer it. I'll have the prototype out here in a minute. I'll show you what I'm thinking. Hey.
What's the cardboard for?
Now we're getting somewhere. This is my, you heard of computer-aided drafting?
Mm-mm.
No?
Mm-mm.
That's where you use a computer to draw like designs and parts and stuff, right?
Oh yeah.
Well, this is a different type of CAD. This is cardboard-aided drafting. So you just cut up cardboard until you like the way it fits or sits. Then you cut it out of metal and then you can weld it up. So because there's a big gap in here, I can't weld all that, but I want more tie-in to this bracket I'm adding. So I'm just gonna cut this out of some steel and put it on there. So what we're doing here is I decided to weld the link mount to this transmission crossmember bracket, but I'm worried that it might break or like oval out or work loose these 4 bolt holes because it's trying to push forward and back on the frame. So there were 2 more holes in the frame up here, so I decided if I cut out like a kind of a kicker or support bracket, it'd give it 2 more holes, especially in line with the direction of stress.
Got it.
What do you think?
I like it.
Should work?
Yep.
Okay. You want to cut it out? Just threw away a piece of 1/4 inch, so it might be big enough. Oh, look at that.
Perfect.
Perfect. So what you never want to do is if you're pushing from behind, the material slips out of the way or cuts through, you don't want to push yourself in. You always want to make sure you're pushing next to it, right?
Okay.
Not in front of it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Which way does it go? That way?
No.
That way?
I don't remember.
That way.
Yeah, that way.
That way. Okay.
We have Darth Vader over here.
Luke, I am your father. Is that what he says?
I don't know, I think so.
We're not really a Star Wars family, are we?
I don't like Star Wars.
It gotta work.
Definitely have the welder turned up pretty high. I'm getting a lot of undercut. I'm not sure how much of it comes out in the video, but a little too hot. I tend to default to hotter welds rather than cold. Makes me feel like I'm at least getting the penetration. So we got these 2 bolts, those 2 bolts, and now these 2 bolts holding it. And all the forces, like I said, should be kind of front to back. So I really think this tie-in will help. I'm gonna get this thing cleaned up. I'm gonna hit it with some paint because I think it's the first part that actually gets to be installed and stay there.
This is our painting rack, aka the swing set.
AKA the swing set. It's good though, right?
Yep.
Nobody swings anymore, so.
I swing occasionally. Watch, I'll swing, right? Just clean off the swings for me and I'll swing. They're nasty. They got bird poop all over them. Hey everybody, what's up? And welcome back to another episode of Chasing 518. And today, still working on Bluey. Ugh, look at that brown water. It's nasty.
Nasty. This is what's gonna make the whole thing good. You're gonna see the floor. You're not gonna see all the other stuff.
Yeah. Hannah, what'd you find?
Caterpillars.
Caterpillars. Let me see.
2 of them. The pink
Oh yeah.
and
There's
the green.
one. Where's the green one?
In between those 2 plants.
And between
Somewhere in
those
the
two.
middle, I think.
Oh yeah, I
Right
see
there.
him. What'd you get?
Plants. We got a couple vines, and I kind of liked the fuzzy one, so we bought that, just the plant.
Finished product. Gonna get it bolted in the truck, and this will be the first painted installed part that I think gets to stay. If you think this is a dumb idea to have a bolted in chassis link bracket, let me know in the comments because I still have some time to fix it or change it before we leave for the challenge, but I need to get things going, get the suspension moving. So this is the direction I'm going. Gonna swap out the Pitman arm on the Bronco for an F351. They're actually, like, I learned this with my truck, they're about 3/4 of an inch longer, and you need that extra throw to match the knuckles on the Dana 60. So I've got one of those, and I drilled it out straight through for a 3/4 inch bolt to hold the 7/8 time steering. So I'm gonna run to AutoZone and get a Pitman arm puller.
Not fire.
I'm not on fire, Ricky.
Not fire. In out.
Uh-oh.
No, out.
Hi. 2 doors. 1 unused return. Okay, unused return. Okay. I'm gonna go look for a tool. You wanna go look for a Pitman arm puller?
Oh, what?
Do you by any chance have a receipt by any chance?
Phone number?
Yeah, because this is I'm looking for that.
No. Pop, I'll go with you. Look for a Pitman arm puller.
What are we looking for?
That.
Pitman
Daddy's
Arm
here.
Puller.
What?
Pitman
Something arm puller.
Pitman Arm Puller. Yeah.
That's what I'm looking for?
Yeah, Pitman Arm Puller.
Hannah, what are you dressing up as for Halloween?
Gypsy singer. Or just singer.
Not big enough. He needs the bigger one. I have a smaller one. I don't know if the one you have. Is this the new one going on?
Okay, I don't know if it's gonna work, but I got a just off the shelf Pitman arm puller from AutoZone. We'll see if it works or if it breaks. I have really bad luck pulling Pitman arms. I usually either break the ears off the tool or have to cut the Pitman arm off, or I break the ears off the tool and then I still cut the Pitman arm off. So hopefully I have better luck with this one. If you guys got any tips for pulling Pitman arms, let me know, because I seem to not be any good at it. So now I feel really confident this is gonna break. So there's not enough room between the box and the Pitman arm for this arm to fit, so I gotta shave this down to get it to fit, which is gonna make it weaker. Let's see how this goes. Wanted to change the Pitman arm for two reasons. One is that it's necked down here so much on the Bronco one. I just wanted something that was a little stronger. And two, TTB Pitman arms are shorter pivot to eye than the Dana 60 beams or Pitman arms. So what that translates into is the farther out this mounting point is, the more drag link and tie rod actuation you get, and therefore you get more actual steering angle out at the knuckles. So if you're going to run a Dana 60, you get a F350 Pitman arm. And then I drilled it out to 3/4 inch because I'm going to use rod ends or heims, not a traditional tie rod or drag link joint. It's also got more meat down here, which is kind of nice. This isn't a Bronco. What are you building?
Well, since my Bronco's not being built, I'm building shells for the treehouse.
Okay.
I got one done.
Alright, well, don't let me slow you down.
Alright.
I need to get rid of this factory steering cooler loop because it's in the way. So one end of the hose goes on the reservoir and the other goes in the box. So what I need to do is add this power steering cooler, and I believe this is the transmission cooler off of the Bronco because it was an automatic before. So what I'm gonna do is make it a power steering cooler. I'm a little worried that these orifices might be a little small for flow, but I guess until I burn up a pump, I won't know. I'm gonna go ahead and mount it somewhere in here. I think it'll look like that. I can pick up that bolt hole up there. If I kind of modify this tab down here, I can use that bolt hole. Then I'll have to make a tab here that goes over to that hood support, hood latch support. So something I don't know enough about is power steering hydraulics. Right now the top of this cooler is actually higher than the reservoir. Not by much, but I feel like there's a potential it's gonna back drain in and like overfill the reservoir when it's sitting. I don't know, we'll find out soon enough. So I'm gonna run these hoses, then we'll put fluid back in it and fire it up. This is what I'm curious about with the height I mounted the cooler at. I'm worried the reservoir is gonna kind of backfill every time I shut it off. Keep an eye on it, see how much it climbs here. You ever stop work for a bit, maybe have a meal, have a minute of clarity, and then realize, yeah, I didn't do that right. Well, that happened dinner tonight. So this power steering cooler, there's a big problem with this. Both the fittings are on the bottom. That way, any fluid coming in with its initial round of air, or anytime change the fluid in the system or anything, it's not guaranteed to push air out the top, because as soon as it gets to the first plate, it can go across and down. So you'll end up with an air pocket up here, and you're losing fluid capacity and you're not cooling. So this cooler needs to be either mounted 180 or at least 90. I think what I'm going to shoot for is 90, and then what I'll do is I'll have the fluid come in the lower fitting, push all the fluid and air out, and then have it exit out the higher fitting. That means I'm probably going to redo all the brackets and everything. I think it's the right thing to do. The other thing I was worried about, and I did confirm, because the top of the cooler is higher than the reservoir, I can't even put as much fluid in as I'm supposed to, because when you shut it off, it comes way up the reservoir. So I'm going to turn it, lower it, try this again.
You're gonna love this.
What do you got?
It's like the perfect Kevin size sorbet.
Looks like a lot. Dairy free.
Okay, now open the lid.
Francesca.
Francesca. It comes with a spoon. But if you didn't like that spoon, I brought you a real one.
It's pretty, how is it though?
I don't know, but isn't it cute?
It's cute.
It's so cute. I was like, that's pretty good.
Thanks.
Okay. What are you doing? Did you move that thing yet?
I'm doing it right now. What's this thing?
Am I standing?
That's literally right where it goes. Yeah, you couldn't sit anywhere else.
You're welcome.
I was given a gift.
Wait, where was it?
It was higher and upside down. Bedtime or what?
Yeah.
What time is it?
9:30, I think.
Well, I'm almost done mounting and plumbing the power steering cooler the second time. Because there was a fatal design flaw in my first attempt.
Best accomplishment for that.
Best?
Yeah, like the best thing you got done today.
Well, probably this, the second time. The first time sucked.
Okay, the thing that took you the longest.
This, because I did it twice.
Okay.
What else? Save that piece.
Most annoying thing you worked on Blue today.
This, because I did it twice. So I turned it 90, had to modify the brackets a ton, but it's sturdy now. That'll work. I had to leave room for the winch, so I was kind of like positioning that to see what that would look like. Yeah.
She usually does.
Japanese thing. I know.
Me either.
Good night.
Alright.
This wraps up day 17. I don't feel like I got as much done as I should have, but that chassis side upper link is in, done, painted, bolts are tight. That's awesome. Power steering cooler has been made twice, but I like it a lot better now this time, so that's good. Some people on Instagram helped kind of point out the flaw in that version 1.0 for me, so appreciate them. And what else did we do? Oh, we got the Pitman Arm swapped out to the F350 Pitman Arm, drilled out to 3/4. So tomorrow when my steering parts show up, I should be able to, I'm going to build a double shear on the passenger side knuckle to hold the drag link and the tie rod. And then I can put ball joints in both of them, get them mounted, and start mocking up steering and track bar, and then we can cycle the front end. So pretty exciting. Since this whole build challenge competition is going to be a camping kind of overlanding time on the trail event, and my wife and I are going to be living out of this Bronco for a week. I knew that in the back here I needed to make this thing as kind of livable as possible, and one of those things that I knew I wanted was a 12-volt fridge. IceCo was nice enough to send me out one of their new models, and it just showed up, so let's go check it out. So this is the IceCo JP40 Pro. Some of the features I like about this fridge right off the bat are integrated tow handle and wheels on the backside. So if you want to just wheel it down the driveway, down the boat ramp, down to the beach, you got that. It's got carry handles on both sides for when you just want to carry it. It's not, I think the dry weight was like high 30s, maybe 40 pounds or something like that. Another super cool feature about this fridge is that it opens from either direction. So depending on how it's oriented in your vehicle, you can get into either side. Or if you just want to load it and you don't want to have to deal with the lid hitting you, you can just pop it off using both handles. So pretty cool feature. It does have dual zones inside, so it's got a basket. It's got a basket on one side. What you see here stuck to the side that you watched me unbox is this is a battery pack. So this is a standalone battery that will run the fridge for, I'm not sure how long. I'm gonna do a complete video on just the IceCo products sometime after the OnX Off-Road Build Challenge once I've got some time on it. So I'll share with you guys all my thoughts and what I've learned about this product. My goals with getting a fridge for this vehicle were that I wanted a fridge that I could run solely off a 12 volt, or if I wanted to pre-cool it in the house and load it the night before, I could run it in the house. I wanted to be able to run it independent from a vehicle, which is why I wanted the battery pack. Probably my favorite part about this battery pack is it sticks right to the side of the fridge. So if you want to take it out of your vehicle when you get to the beach or the lake or whatever, you can just put it on the battery and take it down with you, and it'll continue to keep your food and drinks cold until you bring it back to the vehicle and plug it back in. So pretty cool. Something I can tell you I like right off the bat is the insulated cover because it is gonna get in the sun a lot, and that should help cut down a lot on just radiant temperature kind of beating on the refrigerator itself. It also, the two pockets on the outside, it carries, I just shoved both the DC and the AC cord in one pocket, and I put the battery pack in the other. So now everything I need for the fridge it's all right here. I can see the display, I can reach the buttons, I can reach the carry handles. It's got a cover on it. Super cool. I'm gonna figure out how to tie this thing down in the back of the Bronco so it's not flying all over the place when we're off-roading in Arizona. I'm excited to try this thing out on our trip, and I'll let you guys know how it does. If you want to check it out, I'll put a link in the description below. IceCo 12 volt fridge. Gonna work on the steering now. So this is the factory knuckle. This would be the passenger side knuckle. It was tapered for a tie rod to go in from the bottom, but I drilled it out 3/4 inch so a bolt would just go straight through it. And now what we're gonna do is stack the tie rod end and the drag link rod end on top of each other. But because obviously this is a big tall kind of cantilevered forced structure with a bolt going through it, I want to make it a double shear. So I want to cut a plate that I can tie into the knuckle itself and weld on. So I'm gonna take some cardboard and Sharpie and see what I can draw up. Thanks to the magic of time lapse, we now have a double shear bracket. Cut a couple more pieces to fill in these voids here on the outside, maybe the inside. I'll put the whole thing in the barbecue and heat it up, pull it out and weld it up. Perfect. Well, that's warming up. I'm gonna go ahead and get the bench cleaned off again, get the welder out, get ready to weld it up. It's supposed to relieve the stress so it doesn't shrink and break. Call it peening.
It's because one's cast, one's not.
Yeah. Which is why I was trying to heat it first too. Okay, back in the barbecue it goes. Try and get it to cool down slowly. Which way's which?
I think that's the back and this is the front. Excuse me. Oh, sorry, that was on camera.
Oh, hey there.
Oh hey, didn't see you there. Welcome back to the carport.
What did you realize today about this very clean floor mat that your dad so lovingly cleaned for us?
I kind of forgot the whole time that it was an automatic, and we need a stick shift right here.
Mm-hmm.
So
It's got to cut a hole in it.
we gotta cut a hole in it. Shut up, Frank! Put the hole in that tin.
Okay, maybe there.
This is the worst task on these trucks, is putting the shifter bezels back. Half the time you get super frustrated and you end up just drilling a new hole in the floor. Not even knowing it.
On your thumbnails, how do I know what order it's in?
Order what?
I'd like to watch the progression of the Bronco, but
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
yes, there's none of that. It says like what you're gonna be doing, like welding disaster.
I had done that with the claw hammer. I'm not discounting you. That was where my head, that's the way my brain works. I'd done that with claw hammers and something else, and people are like, they don't like that. Because then they see part 3 and they feel like, oh, I can't start part 3. And then maybe they don't engage at all.
Can you at least,
ugh.
what if in the bottom in the description, you just put like, just 1, 2, 3. So maybe not up here on the thumbnail, but down here.
In the title? In the title or the description?
Maybe in the description.
Alright. This thing hasn't had a shifter, well, I guess ever. Because it was an automatic. Okay, let's go see if that knuckle's cooled off. I can work with it yet. Lift it up. couple inches. Okay, try to hold it steady.
Okay.
Stand it. Stand it up. Yep. Yeah.
How's that?
Nice. Okay. Rotate it. Keep going. There. Go back. The other way. One more. One more. Oh. Yep. No. Too far. Should drop in. There it is. Yeah, good job.
And you were worried that this was going to be difficult.
No,
I told you it would be fine.
I can never find the hole. Double shear knuckle. I left it in the barbecue for quite a while. Pulled it out, cleaned it up, added a weld washer that I figured was, I don't know, a good idea. I think the whole thing's probably overkill, honestly. Push the ball joints in it. They're just super loose right now. I don't want to commit them because I'm going to be taking it all back apart anyway. But this probably paints a better picture. So the drag link, so the Pitman arm is going to come in from there to the top one. And then the tie rod's going to go from passenger side to driver's side. So what I did right now was I just kind of lined up, aimed at the back tire, and then measured from bung to bung. Came up with 50.5 inches. Grab some safety glasses and go cut a piece of tubing and slide a mock-up. Well, it's gonna be the finished product tie rod. I measured and added a little bit, that way in case I'm off on the toe, I could trim the tube down later, but I definitely don't wanna cut this 1.5 inch 250 wall too short. So. There we go, that's what the tie rod will look like. You can see already that I think bump travel might end up where that hits is where this is gonna hit. So we gotta keep that in mind. With less than 2 weeks to go before we have to leave for Arizona, I've got some critical pieces I need, like a drive shaft. The front drive shaft I'm actually gonna make because a Ford Super Duty drive shaft fits. It's just a little long, so I'm gonna shorten that down. But I'll show you how I do that in next week's episode. The rear drive shaft is too critical for me to make myself. It's gonna need to be perfectly balanced around highway speeds. It's also gonna have a CV or a double cardan joint at the front, which I don't have, and I'm not comfortable trying to order the right parts and cobble it together. So I'm gonna be ordering a drive shaft today, and I need to get them a couple measurements. I need to get a flange face to yoke centerline measurement. So I'm at 24.5 inches right now at ride height. What I need to do now is, it's gonna be hard to simulate full stuff or compression because I can't really add weight to the vehicle. But what I can do is check droop and give him a worst case length scenario. So he can base the slip in the drive shaft. He can set the slip in the drive shaft for ride height and then give me enough to droop out so it doesn't fall apart. And then I should still have enough compression for it to run to bump. Let's jack it up and take another measurement. Now have the wheels of the Bronco off the ground, the suspension's completely drooped out as far as it'll go. Shackles are kind of like extended straight out. So take the same measurement and we're at 25. So 25 at droop, 24.25 essentially at ride height. So I'll give him those numbers and go from there. Now that I've measured for a drive shaft and got those dimensions off to my shop to make a new drive shaft, let's pick up where we left off on the steering. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm not prepping the tube, I'm not beveling it, nothing. I'm just gonna tack weld it to the tube inserts, that way it doesn't fall off. And then I'm going to center the steering box throughout its travel. And then I'm gonna take a measurement for the drag link and cut that piece of tube. Set the camera on the tripod and get to work. These are my absolute favorite earplugs, this banded style, because you can just wear them around your neck And then as soon as you need to do a loud work, boom, they're in, and then they're back out. I'm gonna put a link to these in my Amazon storefront. I'll put a link in the description below. In my opinion, setting up the tie rod and drag link are the easy part because they kind of go where they go. Your really only choices are like if you're gonna run a drop Pitman arm or not. I don't like to run a drop Pitman for two reasons. Number one, it puts a really weird kind of leverage on the steering box itself and the sector shaft bearings or bushings. It turns what is a turning action into, like, when you mount it that much lower, it puts it like a twisting action on the box. And I'm not a fan of drop Pitman arms for that reason. The other is you can see the proximity to my tie rod, so a drop Pitman arm would definitely impose on up travel. As long as I can get enough angulation out of my 7/8 rod ends with my misalignments, I'll be happy with a flat Pitman arm. Or I guess technically, I don't know, maybe the stock Pitman arm's like a 1/2 inch drop or something. So now the unfun part, in my opinion, I have to set up a track bar. If you don't want your vehicle to have bump steer, meaning that you're going straight down the freeway and you hit kind of a G out or a dip in the road, you don't want it to do a dart left or a dart right. That's bump steer. And the best way to do that with a solid front axle is to have your track bar length and angle match the drag length. The distance from this rod end to the one over there should be the same on the track bar, and then the angle that the link itself is at should be the same. So I'll measure eye to eye, and then I'll measure the angle of it, and then I'll put my track bar bracket on the outside here and try to fly it right through there to the axle at the same angle and same length. They'll be offset of each other, like the track bar will be biased a little bit more to the driver's side, but that's okay. As long as they're the same angle and same length, it should drive pretty good. There's a lot of head scratching in this next phase, so I'm gonna do some off-camera figuring out. I'll bring you guys back when I got something. Got everything tacked in place, but I'm at a point where I need to cut the track bar tube, but once I do, there's no turning back. So I'll show you what we have so far. So I was able to chop this axle side bracket at this angle to lay onto the truss. That's cool. I can easily tie all this in. I can plate this driver's side of it. I can do a lot to reinforce that. I had the coil over in here. It clears by a good 1/2 inch. That way when the axle droops out, I think it'll be fine. Might be close. That might be my closest tolerance. I'm at a very, very similar angle. The angle of the drag link and the track bar right behind it are very similar. It's not in its hole yet, but it'll drop into that middle hole if I shorten it. I like everything about this current layout except one thing. The drag link from eye to eye is about 40.5 inches. And if I cut this track bar to lay in there, it's gonna be about 38.5. Doing the math on a 40 to 38 inch, that's about a 5%. They're 95% similar in length. I gotta think that's good. In my head, I really wanted them both to be identical length and identical angle. The only way to do that would be to kick this bracket out here another 2 inches. I could easily break the tacks on that, try to change the angle and get that thing farther out. Just don't know if it's worth it. Let's take a walk down to my truck and see what we can compare. My truck is a lot similar and a little bit different. It's different in that I did a GM Y-Link steering on mine. And there's parts of it I like and parts of it I don't. But that's why I decided to do the rod end steering on the Bronco. So you can see on mine that the track bar bolt is pretty much in line or flush with the outside of the frame. I think I could easily bring it out here. I don't think I would have any tire clearance issues. I was able to get them the same angle and the same length because it's a Y-link and it ends here, not out here. So you can see if it went that extra distance, that's another 4 inches. And to get the track bar another 4 inches out here is pretty hard. I'm gonna stare at the layout another couple of minutes. Don't be surprised if when I come back I've cut that bracket off. Let me do a little bit more figuring. Like that should be a bumper sticker or a t-shirt. Figuring.
Been doing all day.
Packaging, suspension and steering is definitely like the definition of 10 pounds of stuff in a 5-pound bag. Find a place for steering, track bar bracket, and I'm also trying to do it very slowly so I don't have to order a new bracket, because I really want to use the bracket they sent me, because I don't even think I could make that in one piece. So I'm just very carefully fine-tuning it.
Okay.
Trying to make it all fit and work. Chipping away.
We're like grinding away.
Get a little grinder. Good news.
What's the good news?
Found a front bumper.
Oh.
It's pretty cool.
Where'd you find this bumper?
It's made by Wild Horses.
You gonna sing the song?
Wild horses. I think you could do a better job. And that's the only word I know. Keep you IceCo. Won't keep me away. Can't take me away.
Now I'm thinking too hard. I just have to start singing. How did you find this bumper?
It was an inspiration for my truck's front bumper 6 years ago or whatever, whenever I made that thing. And I thought, oh, I could just make one, which I did for my truck, but I think it took me about 80 hours of fabrication.
I feel like you can make a video just of you welding.
What? What'd you say?
I feel like you can make a video just you welding.
Oh yeah.
Like every time I come out here,
Nobody'd want to watch that.
you're welding.
Just brr, brr. I hope the viewers appreciate it. I was watching somebody else's video last night. When I edit the welding, I turn the volume down because it's just all. But the one I was watching didn't. So like you'd turn it to the volume for their voices to watch the video. It was good, and they'd get to the welding and it'd freaking blow out your speakers. So, you're welcome.
How's your slow grind, little by little, just chipping away?
What?
At this.
Oh, good. I think I like the way it sits and fits. Figured I would put the weld washer on, the nut capture plate, the reinforcement plate. I really need to turn the welder down though, because I'm kind of melting everything. That needs to cool off, and then I think it can get tacked in place. And if I like the way it all fits and sits and cycles, then I could burn it in later, but
You'll do more welding.
more welding, lots of welding. The cool part is when I take the axle back out and then I do more welding. I'm really happy with the track bar location. It's at the exact same angle as the drag link, but it is 1.5 inches shorter, but again, that's less than 5% difference on a 40.5 inch long drag link. I don't think that'll be anything at all that I'll be able to discern and bump steer. So again, we got drag link that I think is gonna work and stay there, and then tucked in right behind it is the track bar. So this will all, there's a lot of good surface area here. I'll be able to get the bottom. I'll leave this center for drain. I'll plate the inside. Feel real good about that. It clears the shock. An area that could be problematic, and this is why I'll tack weld everything and leave it, is when the passenger side droops out and the shock leans in, it could get closer to this bracket than I'm anticipating. So I'm going to do that once I have enough tack welds on everything and make sure it works. And then it's funny, I took a giant piece of the engine cross member off when I did the engine swap, but I should have taken more. So I'll probably have to back this cut up, come back an inch, and then go across just to make room for the track bar to swing up in here and get close to the oil pan. And then I'm still not sure for up travel. I think I said in the last video, if the truss is the only thing keeping me from getting more up travel, then I will put a dog leg in it, no question. Because I just love low ride height. I love when links are flat, steering is flat, like everything about a vehicle is just better when you can build it lower. I'd rather drag a little belly over rocks than just have this sky-high monster. That's it for this week's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. As always, thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.